Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. And somebody posted this photograph on Facebook and wanted to know if anybody had the file. Well, if anybody, whoever drew this, did a really good job, and they're probably not wanting to share it. You don't want to really copy their idea. Well, you want to copy their artwork. You can kind of copy their idea. This is really easy to do. I just found a flower, and I'm not going to really get into it on the internet. It wasn't very big. It was 512 by 512, and that was where you would want to start. And I'm going to left click. I've already traced it and vectorized it, so it's ready to go. I've already broken it apart, so I'm going to go, and I'm going to also set my nudge factor on 2 inches because this is just an 1.2 inch. And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to use the boundary tool, and then I'm going to move the boundary out of the way. Didn't really have to do that, but I'm going to go to Effects and Contour. I'm going to contour the outside 0.1 with rounded corners. And then I've got my shape. I'm going to go to Object and break the contour apart. The reason you want to do that is because all this stuff will be connected and it won't fall out. All those pieces are individually cut out, much like this is. So now we've got that area. I've already typed out the name, and I've already welded the name, and I even use the same name. But then you're going to need to make a couple of circles. So hold down the control button, make an even circle. Control D and make a duplicate, then hold down the shift key and make an inner circle. Now to put those two circles together, what I always do is use the Smart Fill tool, because now these circles are together and they're really part of something. We can actually delete these, see how they were separated, and see we can grab this one and they'll both move. Now we can Control D and make a duplicate of that. And holding down the shift key, we can make that circle a little bit larger. And it also made it a little bit thicker, but you can always change that. Now we're going to bring that circle down to this circle, and we're going to weld them together. So now you have one circle. Now we need to bring in our flower, and you never know really how big it's going to be. So what you're going to want to do is put your flower in there, but you need to take the inside parts, and I'm not sure if I've got them, I don't have them all grouped together. So I'm going to move that back. I'm going to nudge this out of the way, and I'm going to Control G and group this together. Now I can nudge it over, and now I can nudge the whole thing together. Now I want to nudge the inside away, because when I weld it, I want that stuff to not disappear. So now it's welded that, we can take our name and bring it back in, or take our flower. So now if we look at it, it's all one, and this will actually cut out. That's a good idea. I've never really thought about cutting, the flower out. And you could actually fill those in and actually engrave them, but since this was cut out, and then you could still embellish it like this has another ring that would be very easily drawn, and you could make one ring, thin. But I thought I'd show you how to put the name in there, and I'm just going to move that out of the way because it's going to be the same scenario. And I did not weld the S yet. And so if you take the Smart Fill tool, whenever you use the Smart Fill tool, it basically joins everything and you're ready to go. Then I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to bring our name into our circle. And this is where you can do a lot of things, but if you've welded it a couple of times and you might be running out of luck and it might not weld, and we can try it. So we select everything and weld, and it worked. It doesn't always work, the second time, but that will all hold together. And then you can just bring your artwork back in by using the nudge key. Now we can just look at it with the Smart Fill tool, and that's what it's going to look like. Of course, you don't have to use that name. You could use any name. That font happened to be, let me just type out. If you want that font, if you don't have that font, I bet you D8 font has it. It is back to dark dance, I think it says. Demo, back to black demo. It's a really good font because they're all pretty much joined together. Now, there are some problems with this and a lot of fonts. There's overlapping letters that aren't really joined together, as you can see. And the F isn't very good, but if you take this thing and go up to object and break it apart, go up to object and convert it to a curve, and then you can weld it and get rid of those broken lines or double lines in there. And then I would always use the Smart Fill tool just to check it out, and there's your font. So it's gone again, but it was back to black demo. Anyway, there's a lot of ways you can add to this, embellish it. You could put another, if you're not going to do what they've done here and actually have some crocheting or whatever that's called, but you can do all this kind of stuff inside there. You can add another ring, you can add a flower, but the hibiscus and a couple of leaves, I just typed flower and vines, and it came up with that. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.